What's up? It's Marco, Sage of Soccer, and the US men's national team roster just dropped, and I'd say mixed bag, decent, good and bad. Some players are missing, some players are being rested, a lot of players out injured, a lot of fat that needs to be cut from this team eventually, but we have some really solid players I'm excited about. I'm just going to go through the whole roster, talk about it top from bottom. So in goal, we got probably our best three keepers, Zack, Steffen, Matt Turner, Ethan Horvath. Interesting to know Gagoslini, he did just declare that he is going to represent the USA. Maybe that means he'll be in the U20 camp. I'm not sure. I doubt Chicago would release him for that, but it's a possibility now. And it's good to see Ethan Horvath back in the team because we know that he's quality. He's a great player. Very good chance to become our third backup Premier League keeper it's going to be in a while before the championship playoff starts, but, looking forward to seeing how he can do. Zack Steffen, he needs to get game time because, man, when he's rusty, he's bad. I think he's a good player when he's really in form, but he needs playing time, and hopefully this is the start for that. And yeah, just get him some playing time. Even a loan move back to the MLS would probably help him. And Matt Turner, good to see him. He's back from his unspecified foot injury. Don't know what that was. It's just a mystery injury. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. I don't think he'll get that many starts. He is just back from his injury. I would even suspect that he might leave this camp early to go to Arsenal, get adjusted there. But good to see him in the group. We do have our three best goalkeepers here. It isn't any controversy. We just need to have one of them separate themselves from the pack and really establish himself as number one. Now, going into our defense, we have our center backs, and this is where I disagree with a good amount. Cameron Carter-Vickers, Aaron Long, Erik Palmer-Brown, Walker Zimmerman. Chris Richards is obviously out injured, and Jonathan Brooks, I don't know what's going on with him. Berhalter doesn't like him. I think it's at this point, just admit it. Just say it, and just say that he's bad for the culture. If that's your opinion, we'll all accept it. But the way I see it, he looked like a leader on the field, so I think it's just a you problem. So just put it out there because we all know it's true. Because we all know you have an issue with him. Just say what the issue is, okay? And it sucks that we're missing him. He's our best player, and now look at this team. We only have one guy who I really feel comfortable with playing the ball at the back, and that's Erik Palmer-Brown. Maybe Cameron Carter-Vickers can impress me. I know that he's can play out of the back, but I'm not sure if he can at an international level. I'm really interested in seeing how he can do. Aaron Long, I don't think he's earned a recall to this team. Just being honest, it seems like the U.S. men's national community doesn't like Mark McKenzie. I'm a big fan of him. I think there's no reason why Aaron Long should be in this team over Mark McKenzie. Mark McKenzie was better than him in 2020, and since then, Mark McKenzie has gotten game time in Belgium. He was a regular starter for a good amount of time this season, and Aaron Long's tore his Achilles. So I don't know how Aaron Long is still better than Mark McKenzie. He isn't, but he's just a culture guy, a culture that I'm not even a fan of on this team. So I do like Cameron Carter-Vickers on this team. Good to see him get a chance. I'm not sure if he's a long-term solution, but I like him. I'd rather have John Brooks, but I like that he's in this team. I think he's deserved it. He probably earned it before. I'd say he was a better championship center back than Tim Ream was last year. But good to see him in the team. Aaron Long, I don't know, it's disappointing. I'm not confident. I don't feel good about him playing out the back. Erik Palmer-Brown, I do like him. I'm not too sure how good he'll be defensively. I think it's just he hasn't played too much. He finally got into the rotation at Troyes. He had a decent season for them. I think he was League Owned Player of the Month. So that was good, but I was in a three at the back. We might even be playing a three at the back, so I'm not sure, but I like the call-up. I'm not too sure about him as our starting center back just yet. And Walker Zimmerman, we know what we're going to get from him. Low ceiling, high floor. He has a big lack of athleticism that can lead to him costing us goals. I think he's not as good in the air as he seems to be. I think he's more flashy than he is consistent, but solid enough player, can do good at a CONCACAF level. Let's see how he can do at a world level because the standards are going to be up a lot higher now. Going into fullback, we got Reggie Cannon, DeAndre Yedlin, Joe Scally. Good to see Joe Scally back in the team. Man, he's been doing very well in the Bundesliga. He's obviously a young player, so not perfect, but he's had a couple of really good performances. I'm a big fan of him. Again, not sure how good he can be on a world stage, but it's good to get him in the team because I do feel like he is better than a DeAndre Yedlin, who at this point, he's kind of a pace merchant, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because he's a pace merchant at a high level, but that's all he is. He's just speed, and he can get torn up defensively. He can't hold his ground. You can't rely on him to do anything offensively. It's kind of like Walker Zimmerman. We know what we're going to get out of him, but if that's a positive or a negative, that's up to you. And Reggie Cannon, I'm actually like him a bit more than other people. I feel like he's a bit Mark McKenzie to me. I like how he can get forward. He's very athletic. He can do well defensively. But again, maybe not like that impressive, and I don't feel confident with him starting ahead of Serginho Dest with Dest injured. And then going to left back, Jedi Robinson, George Bello. Jedi, well, I guess I can just say Robinson now since Miles is out. But Robinson, we know we're going to get out of him. A bit inconsistent going forward, solid defensively. I feel like if we had more left-footed players, he wouldn't be a locked-in starter, but we don't, so he is. George Bello in the team, I can't say I'm too confident in him. With George Bello, it's always, I think he should be on a youth national team. It's not that he's a bad player, it's just he isn't ready, and so I don't want to criticize him too much, but he's not ready, and he shouldn't be on this team, and if we're going to bring somebody who isn't ready, I would have rather had Jonathan Gomez, but I don't know the dual national situation with him right now. Next, going on to the sixth, the defensive midfield, Tyler Adams, Kellyn Acosta. Again, it's a position that I don't really have a problem with anybody on this list, but it's just not that exciting. Tyler Adams, he hasn't really developed as much as we thought he would. He's still a good destroyer, good defensively, but man, he makes a lot of mistakes with the ball at his feet, a lot of mistakes in possession, and I was hoping that he'd be a lot better by this point, but hopefully he can take a step up. Maybe he does well in the national team group right now. It's tough to say. And Kellyn Acosta, sadly, I don't have a problem with him in this team because I don't really rate him. I think he's bad on the ball. He's not anything special on set pieces, and defensively, I think he's less athletic than we give him credit for. And I really don't like him in the team, but Tanner Tessman has done enough. I think that Kellyn Acosta outperformed Johnny Cardoso in December when they played Bosnia. Who else? Leon Flock hasn't taken a step forward. And there are a lot of other guys who I just don't feel confident in, and Kellyn Acosta is actually the best option for us at this point, which I can't say I like, but is what it is. Now going to our more advanced position, the eights in the midfield. Luca de la Torre in the team, really nice to see him back. With Luca, the only thing I could say to people who doubt him is, when we were watching, I think the first friendly he was in against, was it Northern Ireland, maybe Jamaica, and we didn't really know much about him, because it was his first season playing senior stuff in Heracles. I hadn't watched a mid-table Dutch team in a long time, and oh man, he might get relegated now, so he's probably going to move. But, we just didn't know too much about him. I wasn't even sure if he should have been on the team, but then when you watch him, you just oh, okay, this guy has it. And I'm not even a guy who's eye test means everything. No, you can look at statistics, but he has it. And we know that he has it, and he deserves to be in this team. Weston McKennie, good to see him back healthy. It was never a question of if he deserves it, it's if he was healthy enough. And it's good to see him in the squad. I wouldn't even be mad if he doesn't play at all, if we just do what we did with Aaron Long, and we just have him in the team because he's this important. So good to see him here. Djordje Milhailovic called up. He's been killing in the MLS. He's been playing great this year. I'm actually really surprised that he's been part of this group, because I thought that it was basically sealed off by now. He's listed as a midfielder. I thought there was a good chance he'd be playing wing, but it's good to have him in the group. I feel like he's a solid player. I'm not sure if I'd have him over Gianluca Busio, but good to see him. He's been a good player, and I feel like he deserved this call-up. Yunus Musah, not much to say about him. He just keeps getting better. You really like having him in the team. Something that I keep being surprised about is how athletic he is, because I think when he first burst on the scene, it's was he 17? I feel like he was 17 when he got his first cap, so I was oh, this guy's not that athletic, and I was yeah, he's growing. He's still growing. He's still only getting better on the ball as well, and I really feel confident in him. Again, it's going to be tough to win a World Cup game as a teenager, but he's a very talented player. I love having him alongside Weston McKennie, and needs to be in this team. Cristian Roldan in the squad, he plays well in the MLS, but at this point we know he doesn't translate. I just think of him as a Tim Tebow, Jimmer Fredette type, where, oh, dude, he does great in college. Look at this Florida tape, and you'll get our analysts who are basically Skip Bayless going, yo, look at what he does here. He's obviously going to kill it at a higher level. No, doesn't work like that, and yeah, I see why he's called up. I get that he's a culture guy. Like it before with Aaron Long, I don't like the culture. I feel like it's a bit us against them, a bit too much of an underdog mentality. It's a bit less we got to prove people wrong. It's a bit more, we're not good, so we have to play a certain way. I feel like that's the mentality, and I have to be honest, I don't like Roldan in the squad. I've made a whole video on it, but yeah, he's just mediocre. Malik Tillman called up. that's something that's very interesting. He is listed as a midfielder. The rumor is that he'd be playing as a false nine. We'd be trying him out as a forward there, but listed as a midfielder for now. Again, this is kind of like when Conrad de la Fuente was called up. He's just not really a first-team player yet, so we can't really see how it'll translate. And again, I really don't think we can judge him too much because, like I said before, he's should be on a youth national team. He's not playing in first team. So if he doesn't play well, it's like Djordje Bello. And if he does play well, it's okay. Well, we got a great player with us. Expecting him to play as a bit, kind of like Jesus Ferreira. He'll be playing as a 9 who will drop in a little bit deeper. That's what I'm expecting. I'm not even sure if he'll play at all. We still haven't confirmed that his FIFA switch has been given a go, so he might not even play. But good to see him in this group. He's a very talented player, but I don't think we can expect much of him yet. Now going to the wing, we got the first guy is Brenden Aaronson. Deserved to be in this team. Might have been our best offensive player during World Cup qualifying. Him and Tim Weah both had some really good stretches. Again, looking forward to seeing him play. He's been doing very well whenever he played for us. Maybe we could even try him out as a 10. Maybe we experiment with the formation. And just a very good player. I love his work rate when he's pressing. Very good in the final third. Can put the ball in the back of the net. Can make chances happen. Just a really solid player that I love having in the team. Paul Arriola, I don't like him in the squad. I feel like he's not good enough. I feel like Matthew Hoppe clearly outperformed him during the Gold Cup. I feel like Nicolas Giacchini clearly outperformed him during the Gold Cup. But, he's a player in this team. I get that he has defensive work rate. I don't think he's any better than Brenden Aaronson's. But he's in the team for work rate. Maybe he's one of those culture guys, I guess. But he's not going to do anything exciting, especially not in the World Cup. Jordan Morris, again, Jordan Morris, I don't want to be too hard on him because, injuries have taken their toll. Maybe if he was in his prime, he could be going on this team, but he's lost a step, and we shouldn't be calling him up based on past performances, especially when, what was his great performance against Jamaica? He shouldn't be in this team anymore, and it is what it is. Christian Pulisic, good to see him back in the team. Honestly, I would have been in favor of just leaving him at home, letting him get a rest. Bit of a mental break after the season, but hey, he's in the squad. I actually don't expect him to do much. Last time we called him up when he was in this situation for friendly. He was actually great in the Nations League, but the time before that, he was just kind of checked out. And after a really full season, I could see him kind of like that, but he's obviously a quality player. We need to have him in the squad. Tim Weah, good to see him as well. His club form hasn't been great, but he's been killing it for the national team. So really excited to see how he can do. And again, another really good player. And lastly, we got 2 strikers. First is Haji Wright. He's been an amazing form in Turkey. He's a former youth national who's a huge standout. He's 6'3", really good with the ball at his feet. Not as good in the air as you'd expect, but still very strong player. Kind of fits our system, I think, because we want to have our strikers be basically false nines. So good to have him in the squad. Not sure how good he'll be. He might just be in form, but maybe this is the start of something special. We saw his quality when he was a very young player. So, still have to see, but it's good to see him in the squad because striker is a weak position for us. So, experimenting with guys, that's a good thing. And we get to see how he does. Jesus Ferreira, I like how he's in the team. He's been great for him in the MLS. 9 goals in 11 games, I think. We know how good he is with the ball at his feet. If he can drop in, it's just can he score consistently at an international level? And I'm not sure about that. I don't really like him as a 9 on the international level. If we were playing with a 10, I feel like he'd be good, but we're not. So can he lead a line? We're going to have to see. And yeah, that's everybody in this team. I feel like it's a pretty solid team. I would have liked our center backs to be a bit better, to include John Brooks, I guess. I feel like we have a lot of fat in this team that could really be trimmed off. And, I don't know. It's just looking at this team, I really struggle to see us doing anything special at the World Cup. I'm not sure if the quality is, really there. I mean, I feel like if we do anything special, it's going to be us playing defensively, getting stuff on the counterattack, and grinding out wins, and that's not really changing the way the world views American soccer. That's not a step forward. That's just us having slightly more talent, and it's getting us somewhere, and I really feel like something needs to change up with this group, but, I mean, for what it is, we've got a good amount of quality players, and I'm really excited to see how we can do. Hopefully by next time we have this call up, Dest will be back, Richards will be back, and Gio Reyna, I didn't even mention him. We'll have our team at full strength, minus John Brooks, and hopefully we'll be able to do something, but at this point, we just have to see how we do, see how we can hold up against some of the top teams, and we got to hold the team to a high standard, see how we can do, and yeah, that's all we really have to talk about. Wish John Brooks was back in the team, but hey, still a decent looking squad. Excited to see Haji Wright, excited to see Carter-Vickers, and yeah, that's all I'll talk about. See ya.